Let's call this meeting to order. We have a quorum. This is being recorded. Probably everyone knows that. You've been here before.
Yes.
Rick Green, Chairman of the Concom.
Mark Kresge, clerk.
Tom Larson, member.
Brian LaRochelle, member.
Rich isn't here today either.
No.
Okay. I didn't hear from him.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
He
was
said he
gone
wasn't.
to
He said he wasn't coming tonight.
Okay.
Grand Canyon or something.
All right.
Yeah.
And Tony's missing, and I didn't call him. Minutes approval, August 1st minutes.
Does anybody need them? They came out late. Oh, I put them out. That's right.
I read through them.
And everything looked good. I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes as written.
And I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstained. I wasn't here. They read well. They read nicely, and the sentence structure and everything was excellent. Old business, public hearing. A notice of intent for construction of a new single-family house at parcel 3/1, 43 Burgess Road, and the applicant has requested that the hearing be continued to October 3rd. So I guess we'll just leave it like that. Okay. Public hearing, second public hearing is notice of intent for construction of a new single-family home in parcel 3/43, Lot A on Burgess Road, in the same continuation till October 3rd.
Okay.
Do it as a motion and a vote.
Okay, so we have
On
a,
both those sides.
I'll make a motion on the first one. That we move it to, just like they want, October 3rd.
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'll make a motion on the second one. Same thing, move it to the same date.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Third public hearing is a notice of intent for fill and wetland replication work in a resource area. It involves construction of a new single-family home and driveway on parcels 1032 and 1033 on Worcester Road, and that has been requested to continue to October 3rd as well.
I'll make a motion that we continue to October 3rd.
Second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. A new business, we will open a public hearing. We have entertained a motion to open up the public hearing for the next line item.
I'll make a motion. So that's Lot 2, Ragged Hill Road.
Yep. Okay, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good. The Hubbardson Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, reviewing a notice of intent for work to be performed in a wetland buffer zone. The work involves construction of a driveway and new single-family house on parcel 241, Lot 2 on Ragged Hill Road.
Hi,
Hello there.
Julian
Julian.
Truba from New England Environmental Design.
Brian.
How's everything? How you doing? Meet you guys.
Hey there.
This is Doug, the owner.
Hey.
Nice to meet you guys. See you guys. So, I got a pretty same thing, but I colored it. All we got is we walked this property and this wetland with the determination of applicability. You and Tony were out there. This is the one, the stone wall. This was all pretty much clear cut.
Yes.
So we came up with this line. At first I had it up here, and then Tony didn't like it, and we walked and I did soil borings and came right around this, and this is where we got the line. So Doug is proposing a single-family house way up here and skirting this area here with a driveway. And so it's buffer zone work and no filling or alteration of a wetland. We've got silt fence along the side and a 100-foot buffer to protect that. So while we're building this, we got a culvert pipe proposed just to not create a dam, because it's just, you know, as you can see, the swale, the water is going that way. All their activity is literally 1, 2, 3, 4, well, 500 feet away. So, and that's what we're proposing.
Too far.
We did get a DEP number. I don't know if you got it in hand.
I don't know if I saw that yet.
DEP number 1890322. Got proposed.
There it is.
There's a couple. One of them mainly, the comment is this was a clear cut, and the basal area of the trees, they made a suggestion. They said that maybe you can have them plant some trees, but every one of these stumps is about 8 feet tall now, so that kind of defeats that purpose. Yeah, you're gonna cut the stump, cut the trees around and plant the tree.
Cut all the saplings except for the best one on each
We
stump.
could do that. Yeah, that's easy enough.
It's amazing how quick they come
Oh,
up,
it's
Yeah.
amazing.
especially with this year with the water.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Was that the only comment?
I believe that was the main one. But like I say, those comments
All right, so you show erosion control.
right along this, we have the 100-foot buffer.
Yep.
So everything within 100 feet. Make sure is,
All right, and the flow is all going this
Going
way
that way,
anyway.
yeah.
Yep. Okay.
and we got the culvert pipe, so it doesn't create a dam. And we're not doing anything that would change anything that's going on over here on this lot. That's house and everything way back here.
Nice spot, expensive driveway.
Expensive driveway. It's actually my son's house, so he's paying
power.
for it.
Yeah.
And power.
Thank God.
Don't forget power.
He's hoping Dad pays for it.
Yeah,
I know how that goes.
right?
How much do you think the driveway would cost and bringing the lines in? Out of curiosity, because
Bringing the power in?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, probably, the driveway alone is probably 25 grand. The power, I have to talk to National Grid if they'll let us continue from here and go up. You know, it's gonna be up to them, and they're gonna have to do a survey, and to go underground, it's gonna be expensive.
is
I
it?
got one in Rutland. That's a 700-foot Metz maker. It's a piece off of Kenwood. And it's $72,000 for his. Why, I don't know.
For the
It's 1,000
utilities?
feet. It's 1,000 feet for the they're going overhead for a little while and then they're going underground.
Yeah.
That's the cheapest way they could come up with it.
Well,
Yeah. My son was 18,000 for 800 feet, and that's 5 years ago.
well,
So it's-
was that overhead?
Underground.
Anyway.
Yeah, the PVC
No.
now is,
Underground, that's not counting the PVC pipe, not counting the
Right.
trench, just National Grid's number.
Really?
So you're gonna love this one. So if you were in Templeton, you'd be happy. So Mike Maypother put underground electric to his house. So he called National Grid, had them come out. National Grid gave him a number. It was $10,000. Then the National Grid guy goes, wait a minute, we don't do Templeton. So he called Templeton Power.
Oh, we'll do it.
The guy comes out, he goes, your number's gonna be high, you're not gonna like me. So how much is it? $1,100.
So it is.
That's the difference.
Municipal.
Same,
Crazy.
same wire, different
So
company.
crazy.
yeah, today, the PVC alone is 9 grand.
Yeah,
You know?
9 grand for plastic pipe,
Yeah,
Plastic pipe, 40 plastic pipe.
schedule
40.
40.
160.
And then they make you,
Schedule
they make you
40.
put two in.
So
One's
you're
empty
gonna put
and
two
one's
in,
full.
and then a 2-inch.
And then your cable.
Yeah.
But maybe we would put cable that's already pre-done, roll it out, maybe.
But they're having problems with undergrounders now. They're talking to all the National Grid people, they're saying, we have more problem with underground power than we do overhead power.
Yeah, 'cause you can't see it.
Yeah.
Oh, the head's broken, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Broken.
Yeah.
Right, a tree fell down by
You might
God.
want to, on this, I would think you might want to see if.
Well,
it would
that's
be
what I'm,
overhead.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna talk to them about it.
Interesting.
All right, we got a little off track there, but
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. Anyway,
everything looks
do you have any questions?
routine to me.
I have a question. Is this all going to be lawn? What's the limit? You know,
No,
I realize it's all cleared now, but like, where's the
Just
tree
up in
line in
here.
the future?
Just, the lawn's gonna be,
Just around.
yeah, they wanna keep this all natural.
All right,
That's
good
way too
point.
much
So
work.
there's not gonna be anything, this is obviously the 100-foot.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna be doing anything in the
Nothing.
100-foot.
Nothing.
Okay.
Or the 200, except for the driveway, or the 300 or 400.
Nope, he just wants privacy, he wants it to grow in.
It used to be, we saw some remnants of, there might have been a cabin or something down in here at one time.
Yeah,
We saw some
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an old sinkhole.
Septic,
sinkhole.
Used to be a
septic
well, we
system.
already filled it in one year.
There's a septic tank, there. Perfectly good septic tank. You can
perfectly good,
consider
perfectly good steel septic
reusing
tank.
it over
They're
there.
making us put a new one in over there.
There's a 500 gallon, by golly. Not 200.
That's what we got before you.
Right. Okay. So, there's no other comments, any comments from the public?
None.
Okay,
Nope.
okay. Then if there is no more information, I make a motion to close the hearing, or to close the hearing.
All right. Want me to make the motion?
Yeah, you make it.
I'll make the motion, we close the hearing.
Second. I'll second.
I'll third it.
Okay.
All in favor?
Favorite, great. So, we approved the project. Thank you. From this hearing, but,
So the only thing we want is just like what's shown on the plan for erosion controls.
That's right on
so when
the
we
edge.
put that in, you wanna come up and take a look at it, or give
possibly.
you a call?
Quite possibly.
Cause I like to maybe just, cut the beginning so we can get a little stocking area so we can get in there, and then get all the silt fence in and, before we start the driveway.
That sounds reasonable, and the flow
Do
of
we-
the water is away from the wetlands.
Right.
Yeah, just maybe 100 feet, it's not even to the not even to the wetland
Yeah.
flags yet.
So somewhere,
Yeah, just in the
Where the
beginning.
old septic tank was,
You gotta-
so we don't
yeah.
drive over it.
Yeah.
In the other order of conditions is a standard,
Boilerplate sheet.
yeah.
All right. So you're reaching that decision tonight?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we make a motion to approve the project and the order of conditions that we just talked about.
want me to make that
Yes,
motion? I'll
please.
make that motion.
Okay.
That we approve it with the erosion controls shown on the plan, and allowing him to do the first 100 feet before the erosion controls go in.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Thank you. Nice to meet you back. I'm not used to that. I don't know what to do with myself.
This is for the advertising?
Oh, yeah.
The check?
You need a receipt?
No. Thank you, guys.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you guys soon.
The next
Yep.
order of new business is the East Quabbin Land Trust Lombard Road site inspection, which
They're all going up.
I made the site inspection
I'm not.
with Mr. Stahl,
So, yeah, so
representing the East Quabbin Land Trust a couple days ago.
on Roger Hill.
And it's a small, uphill from the road, is a small parking lot they would like to put in.
and her husband bought.
And
bought
it looks
for you,
fine.
And then my other son would be.
I'll send a note to you. I haven't done it yet.
No concerns?
Chunk was originally.
No.
Okay.
That's what.
So it's not going to require a filing?
Philbin or Philbin?
Oh, I wouldn't say so. I mean, it's pretty high and dry.
Yep.
There is a wet area off the site within 50 feet, right?
What you're talking about, it was a well
But-
over there and he asked me to fill in, so
Oh, you
I
did?
threw some rocks in it.
Yeah.
So it's 70-ish
that was
feet
quite a while
to
ago.
Mike Stahl, 5 Lombard Road. It's approximately 70 feet from the southernmost area of disturbance to the edge of the wetland, and then another dozen feet or so to the center of the intermittent stream. I'd like to say that this is a parking area. There's an existing barway through the stone wall, so
No road,
no
yeah.
stone wall changes will be involved. There are no trees within the scenic byway area. This is going to be a pervious material. This was an existing staging area for the farm. There was there access to the past farmer's field up the hill. So all this is really clearing brush. There were only 3 small saplings that were within the parking area proper. There were none in the access road, either existing or what's proposed. So there is minimal impact. Materials will not be taken off site, so anything that is spoiled, that is generated from taking the organics off, will remain on site. That is another area that's within the stone walls and an area that had been previously cleared and used for farming, staging, and laydown area.
So it's more maintenance.
It's maintenance, that is a very good description of it, maintenance, with the exception that we'll be removing material and placing a pervious material, gravel, basically, there to stabilize it.
Right. Instead of mud.
Yeah, I mean,
Track it down the road.
tractors can
Yeah.
run through the, they're meant for fields. People that'll be visiting the site, and this is one of 2 East Quabbin Land Trust sites. Now, the other one is right across the street from this one. And Hubbardston is now the 2nd largest landholder of East Quabbin Land Trust properties. We don't have, Hardwick has by far the largest and the greatest number of them, but as far as pure acreage goes, Hubbardston is number 2 now. which falls in line with the Open Space Committee that just did a survey, and the results of those will be published shortly, but it indicates a strong desire by those that responded to the survey to maintain and increase public access to wild areas, and that's exactly what these are.
So, everything you said and everything you want to do, sounds reasonable. Could we put something in as far as ask, like silt fence and hay bales along the wetland side of what you're doing?
Mark, was that already in the request? Fortunately, I was attending the select board meeting that had some critical items in it, so I didn't re-review that.
The only thing I printed tonight was the Sasha's DCR approval.
Okay.
She doesn't mention it. I'm not sure whether it was in your original proposal or not.
Okay.
I'm wondering if we should request an RDA, because if they're going to be working within the buffer zone, I think that would be where we could, have the requirement of erosion controls. I'm just for it. I'm all for the project. but
Sure.
just,
Thank you.
Just if someone drives by and sees digging within 50, 75 feet of this wetland, having the RDA protect us.
Mike Stahl, 5 Lombard Road again. The RDA, have we been requesting RDAs for other projects that have been in the buffer zone? Because I know since I've been coming to these meetings, I don't recall any. That it might have been done through correspondence and not been brought out during the public dialogue. But have we? Because the RDA was kind of a new thing to me. But our executive director was good enough to raise the question in advance so that, you know, we wouldn't be going down one road and then find out that we needed another. And rather than adding this added bureaucracy to it, if we just added the soil erosion, the erosion control to it, would that suffice and get us quicker to what we all want, which is access to wild areas?
I guess I'd defer to
Yeah, I know.
the rest of the people on the commission for our past practices.
That's my
Pra-
question.
yeah.
Past
Yeah.
practice.
Practically speaking,
There have been other RDAs. I mean, I've been coming
Yeah.
to these meetings for almost 2 years now, and I just don't recall them. Doesn't mean they weren't required, just means I don't remember any being discussed. Mark?
there are,
My history doesn't go as far as yours.
But we've
I mean,
just had...
the way your form works on site inspection requests is that the outcome can be nothing further required, RDA required, or NOI required.
So like that form is basically an RDA.
It's kind of it's kind of a pre-RDA.
You know, if you want to add a special condition, and that special condition happens to be add erosion control to the east border, the south border, because that's where the...
south border, yeah.
Yeah, to the south is where they are, you know, and I would propose that it be, I know Tony sometimes doesn't like wattles and whatnot, but there's enough vegetation there, and when you say digging, well, I guess if you disturb the surface, that's digging, but it's really going to be scraping the surface layer
Right.
to remove the
The
vegetation.
grade is sort of towards the road, not towards the wetland per se.
That's correct.
Yeah.
The grade is
The grade
towards
comes down,
the
the
road.
road's here, and the wetland happens to be coming off the hill.
Parallel the site,
Yeah.
basically.
So, anyway, that's all. I'm not saying. It's neither here nor there. At the end of the day, we'd like some silt fence put up. You know, do we need to go through the RDA or not? That's the question.
Well, if we're not issuing anything, then how can we require them to put the erosion controls? I guess that was my point of bringing up the RDA, because
Right,
that
right,
would be the place to,
right, that would be the mechanism.
yeah.
So I think we can look at
we've
it.
heard special conditions, though, have been placed on others, and you can act upon it with, you know, the special condition is to add erosion control. You know, I would suggest the wattle, because this is so minimal.
Minor, yeah.
It's de minimis when you look at the total area that's disturbed and the nature of the work. There'll be no pits dug, you know, there's no excavation for foundations, there's no excavation for septic tanks, there's not even going to be a well driven, so the amount of disturbance is minimal.
So
And that-
I think there's another thing too. So the RDA would kind of force someone to do that. They've come in and they volunteered to do that. So I think that, in my mind, negates part of what the RDA was going to be used for.
Exactly. If that was my point. If the point of the RDA is to get the erosion control, and we've already indicated that we'll do the erosion control, you make that a special condition on your action, whether it's approved or disapproved. You know, you can still make that a special condition. And if you want, we could resubmit it indicating erosion control.
Yeah,
If
well,
that's the path of least resistance, and if that's what your concern is.
yeah, so I understand what Brian's saying. So with an RDA, then we could put that on there as a special condition. Without us giving you really anything besides verbal, then there's not really anything we could say, hey, we asked them to do that and they didn't do it.
I guess it's in the minutes, but
Yeah,
Well, it's, you would take action on this
Yeah.
and you make it a special condition, and that's part of the vote. I've attended many of these meetings and sat back and observed what past practice is. And the RDAs, I don't believe, once again, I'll say that they might have been included, but I don't recall them being included. And they just say, okay, your plan is good with the following special conditions, you know, change this wording, or move this, or add soil erosion control practices here. And that's how you've dealt with them. I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, you've been on the board. We have
Obvi-
members here on the board.
yeah, obviously, everybody's in favor of this.
Good, that's good
Right.
to hear.
Right. It's not a big issue.
Right. So I would say we can put that in the minutes, that we'd like to see the erosion
Yeah.
control. And obviously, any other projects that come up, if that's done, we're all set. If it's not done, then the next time they'll be,
They'll be held to pay.
Once again, Mike Stahl, 5 Lombard Road. I believe not only in the minutes, it'll be in the motion. You have a potential motion that you'll act upon tonight, and several of those
It's,
options. Go ahead, Mark.
Brian's right. It's really not an enforceable mechanism.
Right.
You're basically operating on a handshake agreement.
yeah,
You mean if it's in a motion and documented?
But I don't know if
as
we
part
even
of the
need a
public
motion.
record?
yeah.
Oh. Well, then I will ask if someone can tell me,
Well-
direct me to the last RDA that was done. And so that I can look at that, so that we can be better prepared. This was asked in the original request, just so you know. We are somewhat familiar with the process, and so we were trying to be proactive, and I'd like to continue that way, so we have the least amount of effort required. So I will ask that you show me when the last time an RDA was requested and why it was requested.
I'm sure we can do that.
I
The
know,
commission-
I know.
The commission has not arrived at a decision yet as to
Yeah.
what the path is.
Right, well, but this is part of the dialogue, so I
Right,
just
yeah.
bring it out to be, you know, so you're not guessing it, what I may be requesting in the future.
All right, does anybody have a problem if we let them do what they want to do?
no.
Okay. And
No.
we just go on his word with the hay bales?
Yeah, like I
Right.
said,
Waddle.
I'm for
Waddles,
Waddle.
yeah.
the waddles. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm for the project. It was
Right,
just
right.
a procedural
Yeah.
and protecting us, protecting them kind of situation.
Right.
Sure, and thank you for protecting everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seems quite innocuous, the whole thing.
So obviously this year is a different year than every other year because of the amount of rain we've had. So I end up overseeing quite a few projects, and this year with the amount of rain that we've had, I've dealt with DEP more, and the way they've tried to deal with everything, Rutland, they had Route 56, they're doing that road project, and the weather didn't cooperate. So we have different sites, and so DEP this year has taken a little step back, and they basically said, if everybody is working on remedying the problems, we're not gonna be there writing fines for every little thing. So I think along those guidelines, this to me is minor. And, you know, defining exactly, is it maintenance? There's a farming aspect to it. So there's a lot of things that would be different than every other, if you're gonna build a new house.
Yes.
So,
I think both the risk and the impact are de minimis in this case.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, the chair was out there and
Yeah.
viewed it, and he saw what the slopes were and the potential for any problems. And I'll let him, reiterate what he observed.
Right. It's just, eliminate the mud from people driving in there, and make some hard surface that drains well.
yeah.
So, I didn't really have any concerns. And there's a stone wall, and then there's some wet area over a ways away. But, so I make a motion that we approve the project with adding some boilerplate about putting wattles in on the south side of the project.
Do we need a motion?
Not really, but
Okay.
you can make one if you
All right.
choose.
Well, you want to make one?
Okay, I just made one.
All right, I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor? Okay.
Probably one of the easiest projects we've had, and we spent a lot of time.
I know, we could add it done already.
It's good, though, because it then gets it out in the open, and I really think that a lot of other projects that are much more invasive and have much more risk associated with them have not been discussed nearly as in detail as this one was. And once again, I've yet to see an RDA be discussed at the meeting that I can recall, the meeting I've been to.
Yeah, we've had them in the past. I can't recall the last one.
Okay.
Usually people have figured out already that we're
The last
an
one,
NOI.
last one was actually Julian for the wetland delineation on this project that you saw tonight.
So they did an RDA on that.
There's several flavors of RDAs.
Okay.
One is to verify the delineation of the wetland, and that's what the last one was.
Okay.
Yep, so some of them, like, perfect example, Julian, so they've already come in before. Then Rick and I believe Tony went out, inspected the site,
Sure.
agreed on where the wetlands were, then they came back in. So that's why that one didn't seem like it took a lot of time. It didn't today,
Right.
but all the legwork was done prior to that.
Well, I've actually been to a couple of these and attended the site visits. One right on Lombard Road, quarter of a mile down the road, which there are much more significant wetland and buffer zone issues, and then one right on New Westminster Road on the corner of Lombard Road, 1 mile away from this site. So I'm pretty familiar with both the areas and recent projects that have come before the board.
Good.
So I tried to be consistent with them.
Very good.
Okay,
All right.
so you guess you're all set then, eh?
Well, that's, even though Mark said you didn't have to have a motion, I think that that was a good idea, and I appreciate that, because that now documents it to the record, and I believe that that is a compliant requirement now for the project, that, it is enforceable. We do motions all the time, other boards and committees, and they come back in the future to deal with contractors, and they said, well, we made this a special condition. We approved it with the following additional requirements, and, I think it's very much enforceable. That's just my opinion. That's not the town's opinion or obviously a legal opinion, but I think you have an organization that we have the same type of goals. We're not making any money off of this. It's not like we're developing a house. It's not like our, livelihood is dependent upon it. So I think that, we're good benefactors in this case.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
The next item is the West Common Pond Access Road. Miss Edie Morgan has requested that we go look at moving a shed. And I suggested that It's never simple.
So my
It hasn't
question,
been simple in the past.
no, especially when that name comes up.
Right, right.
My question is it within 100 feet?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so it is in our jurisdiction,
Yeah,
okay, and
well,
it's,
based on her description anyway. This
Alright.
is what she sent to the board. Or, well, at the bottom is what she sent. And at the top is what I asked her for.
So, when we talk, Margaret, we were talking about having her do a formal request for a site visit. Did,
I didn't get any response back from
okay.
this email.
Because like, sentence 3 is an example of how it could be confusing or could be problems. You know. Is there really any approval on it and what it was said and different things? We have to, whatever.
Is so
And
sh-
this-
sh- I'm sorry.
All right, there's a long history there, so with the neighbors and conflict and so we haven't done a site visit yet.
She says it's a portable shed, but no one's actually seen this portable shed.
No, I haven't. 6x10 shed.
I mean, if you want to, she didn't, when did this go out? A little over a week ago. When I sent the thing asking
Okay, I
if
see.
she could put a request in.
Yeah.
That has not come in. We do have a phone number for her.
Okay.
If you wanted to contact her, if you wanted to decide to try and schedule something and contact her, we've got her phone number.
so,
Or we can just leave it at this email that she hasn't responded to.
Yeah, I would say leave it at this email at this point.
Say what?
I would say leave it at this email
Yeah.
at this point until we receive actual inspection request or RDA or NOI.
Right. The last time we went around and around and had several site visits and discussions and not arbitration, but various
so
discussion with the neighbors, etc.
I'm just trying to understand exactly what she's saying here. So she's saying the shed is currently there, adjacent to a spot where a tree fell down. So where does she want to move it to? Where the tree fell down?
She wants to move it a few feet west and south. That's the only thing I know. I don't want to make a big deal about it. I guess I could go, it wouldn't kill me to go down and say hello and see what she wants to do. But it needs to be well documented.
Yeah.
Because it could turn into like something different.
You mean when I drove my pickup down there?
What happened there, I forget.
So
Oh,
then the state came after me and said, conflict of interest. I said, so I had to meet with someone or on the phone. And I said, well, how did this become a conflict of interest? He said, well, you were down there with your company truck doing work. I said, no. I said, I work for a company and I have a company vehicle. We had no involvement with any of the work there. Oh, well, that's not what the neighbor said. So you remember our friend there?
Hmm.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
That's
So everything worked out fine.
That's funny, except for you drag before the Attorney General and that log. And your name appeared in the Boston Globe.
Yeah.
No. I'm only kidding. So anyway, yeah, so we should get a request and then we can go down and look at it. I guess we'll do that.
Yeah.
I was, I think it should be formal.
Yep, okay.
Okay, good.
Another one, that doesn't seem like a big deal if the shed's there and she's gonna move it a few feet, but probably have to,
I know how that goes.
yeah, especially down there.
Yeah. And the neighbors. they'd
Same
be
neighbor?
Very interested.
Yes, if anything moves.
Okay.
Okay,
So I'm just letting this sit at this
Yeah,
point?
yes, that's fine. Administrative matters, anything new or, I have matters not reasonably anticipated by the chair. Okay, I have one thing that came up, and I should have put it on the agenda, but I just bring it up. There is a place on Mayo Road and, Hale Road, where the water comes down, and there's new houses at the corner of Mayo Road. Because of the drainage, when they put new houses in, they didn't sort the drainage out. There's a
puddle,
puddle there that forms.
and it's been there all year with the rain.
And it got pretty high at one point, so it's going to probably run into the neighbor's cellar, potentially. It was pumped out at least once. At that time, it was pumped into the road. And it went down the road and into wetlands, which happens to be a pond across the street.
So when they put the new house in, did they come before us? Okay. So,
So the question that came up from the neighbor across the street happens to be, has a pond there. It's man-made pond. So the water runs through the pond and then continues out. And he was concerned about what was being pumped out of the puddle. Fertilizer and whatever, possibly. As well, most of this water came down the road, so it's running off the road.
so does it run down their driveway and across the road? Or is it earth that's mounded up that forces the water?
No, well, they were just
Did it
pumping
burn
it
it?
into the road.
Oh,
It was
they
going
were
down the
pumping
road and then running into the wetlands stream, basically, and continuing into the stream.
All right, so I think that would get caught on DPW, because you can't pump water onto a road.
Yeah, so I don't know what, there was concerns like pumping directly into wetlands or whatever, but it's not. It's one of those things, because the water was going to end up there running down the road anyway.
So,
I don't-
the other thing you can't do, you can't force water onto the road.
I see.
So in other words, you can't have your driveway so it takes all the water from everywhere in the back. And every time it rains, it's like a river going out into the road. But I think that would get caught at DPW. Because that's obviously a big problem in the winter. If you get a rainstorm in the winter and it ices the whole road up. They probably won't be pumping in the winter, but
So, what should we do, or what can we do? We refer this to DPW to improve the drainage, or
so what's our jurisdiction? Our jurisdiction would be that we don't want anything bad going into the wetlands. But we had no, unless there's something on the plan that said, and there probably isn't.
I doubt it. The elevation there's a lot of fill brought in, brought the elevation up. and it happens to pool in a small area there.
Is that in the town right away? That area that's pooling, or is that? On
Well, no,
private
it's off the
property?
town, it's off the right of way. It's on private property.
So is it on the property of the people that built the house?
It's probably, I would say, mostly on the property of the person that built the house, but some of it on the neighbors, because it's kind of flat in there.
So I don't know who would oversee that if you forced water from your lot onto a neighbor's.
Well, you said that house got some kind of, was it an NOI? They had a public hearing with us?
We did have a hearing and looked out at it, walked on site, because it was a field, it used to be a hay field or pasture that sloped.
Maybe we could pull that plan up for next meeting and we could look at it.
Yeah.
See if there's anything that comes
Right.
to mind that,
Maybe they didn't do something per the plan that they proposed and was
Well,
approved.
yeah, we should look at that, because this sloping field at the end, it drops off into a stream, so that was the concern. And subsequently, a lot has gone on the site, you know,
Is that
which
or-
probably isn't addressed in any way, shape, or form, but we should look.
Yeah,
check
so-
it.
So is this the first lot on Mayo, on the north side, that we're talking about?
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's really the first one. This first one could be, yeah, right, the driveway is, yes, the first one with the driveway on Mayo Road, yes. That's correct. I wasn't sure how they address this for the other one.
so I had an issue with that too.
Oh,
When Diane Laney was doing the addresses. So the town has a bylaw, you have to enter through your frontage, which would make sense that would mean that's where your street address is. But if you look at the one I did on the corner of George Howard, there's a horseshoe driveway on Old Princeton. And then there's an access for the garage off George Howard. She picked that street number to be George Howard when the house faces Old Princeton. Just, so in that case,
the driveway is definitely not on Mayo.
now you just threw them
No,
for a loop.
sorry. The neighbor, the affected neighbor is not on Mayo.
Okay,
This,
all right.
this
Where-
house,
Where are you with your tax parcel maps, Mike?
I left them.
the house is on Mayo Road, right across from Clem Tyler's house. The first house, yes.
All right.
Is that order of conditions still open? Like, how recently was this house?
Couple of years. I would
So
say.
my question, what I think is going on is, all right, so say this table was the land before they built the house.
Yeah.
Everything, the water, this was higher, it all sloped this way.
Right.
Now they put a house, what does it do? It might do this, but one of these legs might cause the issue. So,
Right. Where you used to come down the road here. Here's the road, and here's Mayo Road. So the road water's coming down the hill. They put this. This is sloping down towards the wetland. Here's a stream down here,
yeah,
and they put the house in here, and put like 1,000 yards of fill.
okay, so they built it up.
And they raised it way up, and this sloping downhill here. So this, the water now that it used to come probably blend in here and go this way. Now it comes down here and goes down the road, and there's a thing here, and now there's a new house here and this house here. So this fills up with water.
All right.
That's all. I mean,
When they pump it onto the road.
and at least once they've pumped it out with a trash pump out here, because it was
So,
there
Mike,
was a lot of water. You know, we had
Yeah.
inches of water,
so
4 or 5 inches of water.
this might be a case where we're not even involved. Because if that is more than 100 feet away from that, then it's out of our jurisdiction. So,
It is, would be, definitely.
now, you
But
could,
this
you,
project, though, this was a project that was under our jurisdiction.
so, correct. But where does it say that you have to shed water a certain way?
No, it's not, it wouldn't be addressed.
So, in other words, if there's a low
Land.
spot there,
I get you.
we wouldn't look at the plan and say, hey, you
What about
can't
this low
grade it
spot?
like this.
Right.
You
You'd
know,
have
that's
to,
not
or
gonna
you have
show up on a
to, you have to
plan.
put a culvert in here or something all across here or something like that. We wouldn't get,
Right. The easiest way would be, and it depends on whose property it is. Maybe it's not on this guy's property, it's on this. He filled up to his property line. Now, that made this guy's property lower, which probably wasn't before.
it wasn't. No, you're
Yeah.
right. Before this started, it was higher here, you know, by a foot or two or three.
Yeah, yeah.
And now it's not. You
Right.
know, this is the same elevation probably of these two, the house's front doorstep probably. So, it's a man-made problem. And Clem's concern is we shouldn't be pumping pesticide,
Correct, correct.
herbicide, and different things into the wetlands.
Yeah, they're all gonna go there anyway, but,
Yes. You know, what,
I think most of that falls on like a civil matter. Now, the easiest solution would be fill that so the water continues to do what it did. Now,
right, because right now, it's running down the road. If it's on this side of the road, it runs down the road and crosses the road. This, when they did the road, they were gonna put a culvert into the field over here. But it didn't get put in, so it comes down here, across the road, and then it blends, it goes down through the yards and into the wetlands. Or it goes down the road and goes into the wetlands. That's how it happens now. Or it happened before. Or it went into this field and then went into the wetland. Because this is a hill right here.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it could be because, you know, it's kind of drains. Most of the time it's drained. But, you know, when we have inches and inches of water, that time when it flooded Vermont and all that stuff, there was a pool in there pretty good,
So someday that could be a wetland.
I suppose. Yeah, could be. It does
Could be this year.
it does seem to drain because there's a lot of gravel there, I guess. So it drains out most of the
We
time.
can look at the plan and see,
Yeah.
Yeah, I can make no guarantee that I can actually find a plan. And I would be pretty surprised, actually, if I do.
okay.
I can look through my archives.
But I can look.
Yeah, I don't. Tony remembers because Tony went out and walked with
Yeah.
the owner out here, and but it would have been erosion
Although
control
it's-
down
although
here.
It's typically, it's the septic approval plan, right? that You guys are always looking at.
Yes, that's correct.
So that.
Yeah, because that
might
puts
be
all,
in
the grading lines.
That might be in the.
You know, we
funds.
would have had erosion control over here, probably nothing up here, probably at all. But we could certainly look.
Oh, you pass the buck, it's Board of Health. They
Water
approve the plan.
conditions. Oh, so it becomes like we were kind of casting about here, but it becomes it's maybe not the, it's a civil matter, like between a neighbor.
So, yeah. Well. Yeah,
Hale, Mayo. So are we talking?
That's what I'm talking about,
Are we,
right?
are we talking 169 or 167?
169. Right at the line between 169 and 170 is where the puddle is, and it would probably be over in both lots, I would guess. You know.
so pumping is one thing. And if they're pumping onto the roadway, I think DPW could shut that down. But that doesn't address the low spot and how to deal with that.
Yeah.
But if we looked at that plan, we could probably come up with some ideas.
Yeah,
If I find the plan, I'll scan it and send it out to you.
okay, that sounds good. And what we can offer, I don't know, but we could
Right, exactly.
at least, right, what can we say and what can we do? I empathize with
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Clem Tyler, because he swims in there, in the water. I went over to his house and the water looks great and it's all, looks fine, but it doesn't,
So the water's gonna go there no matter
no matter how it gets there, but,
how it gets there.
yeah,
That's what it sounds like to me.
right. He was concerned with all the activity that was there, irrigation systems and lawns being put in, and herbicide and pesticide, and swimming pools, and
Think what all the crabs and fishes thought when they put Logan Airport in.
oh yeah. All right, well, so I guess we'll bring this up again next time and look at the plan and talk about it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Maybe we could, I don't know to do what, but
Yeah. If we can come up with a helpful solution, that's, I think, the best we can do.
yeah, okay, good, thank you for bringing that up or for discussing it for 15 minutes. Anything else? Okay. Do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.